Good morning, Facebook. I am Jabari Long with episode 2 of the Long Report. Today I'm going to talk about tax advantage accounts, more specifically, education savings accounts. Why is this topic even an issue? When I consult with investors, typically they want to increase their retirement income by investing in real estate and or pay for their children's education. Taxes are a big deal. And there's a bully out here, a well-known bully, that does not discriminate, and his name is Uncle Sam. When you invest in real estate, especially short-term, there are significant tax liabilities that are owed and due. And if you don't pay them timely, then the interest accrues and just eats up your profit and it erodes your wealth. So today I'm going to talk about two of the tax advantage accounts that I suggest people set up for their children's education. One is pretty popular. It's called the 529 account. The 529 account is a state-sponsored account. It has some latitude with regards to income limits. You can use it for a lot of in-state and out-of-state educational institutions. Another one that's not so popular, which I like even more, is called the Coverdell Education Savings Account. The Coverdell has more latitude with regards to your investment options. So let's compare the two. The 529, you typically are investing in mutual funds, the stock market. So if you like that, that's a good thing. You invest in these accounts, your after-tax dollars, and the growth is 100% tax-free as long as the money is used for educational purposes. Now, here recently, the new tax law that was signed into legislation on, I believe it was December 22nd by President Trump, it opened up the range of investments that the 529 could be used for, and it also allowed it to be used for K through 12 private school education, which previously you could not use those funds for. You can still use them for secondary education and post-secondary education expenses. But the CESA, you can actually invest in real estate. There's a $2,000 a year contribution limit, but with that contribution, you can buy real estate, sell real estate, and the income that you receive is 100% tax-free. So I like the CESA a little bit better. I think it provides more flexibility and latitude, and you can do more with it. So let's talk about your investment options. So you can absolutely buy real estate. You can invest in promissory notes or mortgages. You can invest in the stock market with the CESA if you so choose to. You can invest in private placements, other businesses, land contracts, things of that nature. There are a wealth of different investment options that you can use with the CESA. Now, there are rules and restrictions like everything else, but as long as you follow those guidelines, the growth is 100% tax-free. Now, your investment options with the 529 is program-specific. So whether that's a state-sponsored program or institution-sponsored program, they will dictate income limits, contribution limits, and the guidelines for the age of the child and things of that nature. But with the CESA, the IRS dictates that, at least for 2017, the contribution limits are $2,000 a year. Okay, but there's no income, no cap on your growth. So say you buy a property and you put it under contract for $1,000 down and you wholesale that contract and you make a $10,000 profit. That $10,000 profit will go back into your child's CESA account 100% tax-free. Now, you do have to notate it on the tax returns, but you will not pay a penny of tax on that $10,000 profit that you made with that particular investment. So let's talk about covered expenses. You can pay for tuition, of course. It's a big thing, rising tuition cost. I know it was It's a lot more expensive now than it was 20 years ago when I first entered college, and I would assume that it's going to be even more expensive 20 years from now. So definitely something that you want to plan for early, and use these vehicles and these tools so that you can have a student without a loan. And I'm going to say that again, so that you can have a student without a loan. So tuition, you can pay for books, you can pay for room and board. You can actually pay for a vehicle for your son or daughter as long as you can show that that's needed for them to actually attend that university or school. You can start paying for elementary education all the way up to medical school, as as long as that child or that beneficiary is still increasing their education. Now, let's say you have a child that's a scholar. They, go through school and they get a full ride through college. Okay, so that money has not been used. It can be passed down to other siblings. And if you are in a situation where you only have one child, that those funds can be passed down to nieces, nephews, anybody who has familiar ties that you want those monies to go to and be used for educational purposes. And they can be used for educational purposes up to the age of 30. So these education savings accounts, although they're not as popular as I would like them to be, they're identified in the IRS code as a tax advantage account, which means your growth 100% is tax-free if the money is used for educational purposes. And that's just so powerful. If we're talking a small buying a property and wholesaling and make a $10,000 profit, but if you are able to structure a deal to where you have an apartment building or storage units or things that spit off, a lot of income, that money is going to grow compounded over the years for your son or daughter. And wouldn't it be nice for you to be able to write a check for, private school or college straight out that education savings accounts, which you started shortly after your son or daughter was born? I believe these accounts can be set up for as little as $250. You can contribute monthly, or you can contribute however often you want to, as long as you contribute less than the contribution limits. So for those of you all who are looking to invest in real estate, be fearful of the tax liability that's associated with short-term capital gains. And if you use one of these tax advantage accounts, like an educational savings account, your profit can be retained 100% tax-free. 100% tax-free. So, Jabari Long, once again with episode 2 of the Long Report. Please utilize these education savings accounts to further your children's education.